This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Viking dishwasher that just keeps draining. Anytime it's powered on, it just drains. It won't start a new cycle, and the lights are just blinking on the control panel. So it's just constantly draining. So we're going to need to remove this bottom panel, and it's held on by 6 screws. So you got one here at the top, one down at the bottom, same on this corner, one on the side, then one middle, and then one at the top. So there's 6 total. I'm going to remove those. Here's what the lights look like when this condition happens. And basically a bunch of water has ended up in the bottom drip pan below the dishwasher, and it's activated the anti-flood mechanism, so it just keeps draining and draining. And we can see here on the side, this is where water comes in, that water is just dribbling in all the time, even when the dishwasher's not powered up. Not very much water, but just a constant dribble. And over time, it builds up so much water that it floods the bottom of the dishwasher, and that activates a little float switch, and then the machine will just keep draining constantly. So we have to correct that by replacing the fill valve, because the fill valve is not closing all the way. It's kind of worn out, and it's leaking a little bit of water. But over a few hours, it's enough to flood the dishwasher and flood the lower drip pan, and the anti-flood mechanism makes it just continually drain. So I removed the front panel, and I'm going to remove this bottom panel. First, I'll pull these little brackets out that hold on the kick panel. Get all those screws out. And then we can just grab that panel and pull it toward us. And then it's a little bit hard to get off at the top. Just take your time and pull away. We can see there's a bunch of water in here that's fallen into the lower drip pan due to the fill valve leaking. So it just gets worse and worse, and you can't wash your dishes. So we're going to be replacing the fill valve. You can replace it with the standard one, which costs about $120. Or you can just get this generic fill valve to replace it, which works just as well, maybe even better than the dual solenoid. So we're going to, instead of using a dual solenoid, we're just going to use a cheaper single solenoid valve, which is very easy to come by, very easy to find. So we need to remove these electrical connectors. We have it unplugged already. We're going to remove this. We've got the water turned off. We're going to remove this nut, so we can get the old fill valve out of there, which is leaking. So we got to pull those electrical connectors off. And the gray connector you don't need anymore, so you're going to just totally pull that off of the wire. And I've grabbed the fill valve with my vice grips, and I'm going to spin the brass elbow off, and I'll be adding it to this new fill valve. This is just a generic like $40 fill valve. You can get it from Amazon. And that's the part number right there. So you can order this thing, and it'll take the place of the original Viking / ASCO fill valve, which cost basically triple the cost, and probably does a better job for longevity. So we're going to get all this water out of here too, because the dishwasher just won't work with all this flooded water. So we're just going to use a sponge and soak up some, and then we'll squeeze out that sponge. It'll take about probably 20-30 times to get all that water out. You can also pull the dishwasher out a little bit and tilt it at 45 degrees to get it out. This is the new fill valve. We haven't hooked it up yet, but we just hooked up the wires so far. So there's just the 2 brown wires. The gray wire you just disconnect, because you don't need that for the dual solenoid anymore. And we have the new one hooked up. We got it started. We're just listening to it and checking for leaks. It looks good though. Seems to be doing well. You can hear it filling now, so the new one's actually letting new water in. Hooked up. The water turned back on, got it plugged in. Those are the 2 leads bringing power to the solenoid. We don't really have it hooked to the frame, it's just in there loose. But you could definitely hook it to the frame by putting one of the screws or 2 of the screws in. Here we have the old one, the old fill valve. Actually, there's another old fill valve right next to it that the customer let me see. It's only from 4 years ago. So these dual solenoid ones just do not seem to last. I don't advise you replacing these because they just don't do very well. Same with the Miele dishwasher. We got the panel back into position. Put all the screws back in. And just got to put the front panel back on. Now we got it all fired up. I'm going to open it up, and we got great function from all the parts are working great, and we got a good Viking dishwasher again. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.